Hey there everyone, this is Joe from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, selling you the best bullion bars and coins shipped to you worldwide from Melbourne in Australia. This is your weekly precious metals technical analysis where we take a look at the big four: gold, silver, platinum and palladium. Of course, head over to youtube.com/bullionnow. 440 subscribers as of right now, of course, for our weekly auctions, our giveaways, our YouTube special, subscriber only specials, our weekly auctions, as I said, our interview series as well, and a lot of other cool stuff. Join the family, hit the big red subscribe button. If you're interested in getting a Perth Mint Lunar Mouse, the new series 2020, the year of the mouse. The series 3 starts next year. We're taking expressions of interest right now. So if you email sales@bullionnow.com.au, tell us how many you may want, and then we'll let everyone know if they can get them and how much they'll be, etc. And then that's when you can lock in your order. Same thing, we're doing a group buy for the Perth Mint 2020 Kookaburra 1 ounce silver coin as well. So same thing, email us sales@bullionnow.com.au. I'll put a link below to both of these pages here from the silverstackers.com forum. All right. Wow. What has been going on with these metal prices? Look, if you've been buying down here and then you're seeing the price up here, congratulations. And a lot of us, as I was mentioning last week, a lot of people have been mentioning where they've now hit their dollar cost average, and now I'd say it's above for a lot of people. So a lot of people are now back in the green, which is fantastic. If you're not yet, don't worry, it will happen eventually for sure. So we'll take a look at gold. First, this is on the monthly time frame, of course, tradingview.com website, priced in US dollars. We will take a quick look at the Australian dollar version as well, just because we're based in Australia. Okay, monthly chart. Here's that low of 1050. We're now all the way up. And you remember I mentioned this Fibonacci level right here of 1564. That's calculated between the old low of 250 and the old high of 1920 in US dollars, that is. I said that might be a possible level that we come up to. I said it might be a level of resistance potentially. So we are close to there now, and look how far we've come. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're now in the 5th month of, even though we're in 5 days into September, but so far it is a green candle. As I said last week, I would not be surprised if we see a dip from here. Equally, with the way the metals have been going recently, I wouldn't be surprised if we keep going up either. So I'm going to stay neutral for now. I don't want to say definitely down or definitely up from here, just neutral, but it honestly either way wouldn't surprise. So let's take a look at the next levels, but we'll focus on where we are right now. Let's go down to the daily and see where we've come from and see how the pattern's emerging. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, yeah, we had that top out of that 1555, and we just got a little hair above it, technically 1557 and 10 cents right there. As I said, look, on the daily chart, we're right neutral in terms of the relative strength index. In terms of the weekly, we are definitely in overbought territory, although check out that little pattern right there. It does seem like it's wanting to creep higher. And on the monthly, again down here, we have sort of just been hovering in overbought territory. So if we're looking on the monthly time frame, you could very easily stay in overbought territory for quite some time. I mean, look at that stretch right there, and there's been larger stretches, over time. So it doesn't mean that you get into this area and then you immediately go down. So we could stay here for a little bit longer. So again, neutral as of where it might be going from here. It just really wouldn't surprise me either way. So I've talked about last week our down targets. I'll quickly mention them now. Just in case I haven't mentioned them before, you can see these lines in the sand right here. I did think I mentioned about 1450, and at the very, very lowest, we'll be coming back right back to this trend line right here. Just depends on when it hits. If it was to do it in the next month, so this is because we're on the monthly, this candle here would be throughout the whole month. If it did it, which it doesn't normally do this, but if for some freak reason it went all the way back down, then you'd be looking at about 13.75. Very unlikely to happen, but if we do see a dip from here, it might take a couple of months to reach its peak of descent as such, and I think, as I said, about 14.50. Below there, touching that trend line, just depends on when it does. So I mentioned that last week, pretty easy stuff. And moving higher from here, I did mention this level here of 1680, and again disregard this little Fibonacci line here, and of course this one here, it's matching right there at about 1800. And look, after that obviously it's going to be pushing for the all-time high. I personally don't see it, and I'm very happy to be wrong on this. I don't see it reaching all the way to the all-time high. So what's that one? It would take at least another couple of months of green candles to reach that. I don't see that happening before we see a major retracement. Although, hey, I could very well be wrong, and I would be happy to as well. The maximum I could see it going to, personally, before the big retracement, which we will have eventually, is the 1800 level mark. So that's where I'm going to say it will top out at before we see a retracement. No higher than that, or maybe a smidge above, but definitely that's the maximum for me personally. And none of this is financial advice, of course. Do your own research. That's gold in USD. Let's take a quick look in AUD again, just because we're in Australia and we have a lot of Australian subscribers. So here's XAU AUD. Currently, where are we? We did top out here at 23.24. That was, let me pop into the weekly. That was a couple of weeks ago now, maybe a week and a half, a couple of weeks ago. So we are still, where are we right now? 2267. Yep, that's where we are in that. Haven't got a lot to say about the Australian dollar price, because again, it usually depends, well, it does depend on what the Australian dollar is doing versus the US dollar. So that really does come into play. So I'm rambling now, so let's go to silver. Man, silver's been on a tear. Look at this. This is on the monthly. A high here of 1965, roughly $19.65. Let's take a look at where we were 7 days ago. Can you believe it? In 7 days, decent rise. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in a trading range of between $18 to $18.50. And I did make a couple of calls. I believe I said this. I'm pretty sure. I think I said, because I've put these two lines in here. That line was at $19.40 and this line was at $20.10. I think I may have said it might trade anywhere in between there, which was my personal opinion, anywhere between there and there. We're there so far. But again, just like gold, if it carries on all the way up to $21 before we see a retracement, absolutely wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, well, I'm going to stay neutral. So I will stay neutral, definitely. I don't want to cause any panic in the streets. But 21, I think, would be definitely, look at that. I mean, that's pretty obvious. 21 here, just like I called it in gold just before at $1,800, $21.10, I guess technically, would be the max that we'll top out at. Actually, no, look, honestly, there's this one too, right here is this Fibonacci level. So I'm going to say anywhere between there and there. So that's what 2150 is from the old low and the old high. So I'm going to say a max of between $21 and $21.50 before we see, that's where it will top out at. I don't think we'll go much higher than that before we see a significant retracement down. And the next move up, as I said, round about, that would be the next move at about $20.10, coinciding with this little level here, and then we'd be making a play for that $21.10 mark. Moving down, as I said before, got a couple of spots, probably, as I said before last week, about $18.70 would be a quick little move. And if it stays there and sort of hovers around there for a bit, then you could expect it to go back up again. Otherwise, the big move would be all the way down to this trend line right here. Again, just depends on when it hits approximately your sort of $17.70 mark, in my opinion. So that's silver moving higher and silver moving lower. Definitely just staying neutral for now. Would not be surprised at all if it goes gangbusters upwards or gangbusters downwards. Silver in AUD. I need XAG. Where are we? Got so many things here. XAG in AUD right here. $28. Wow. So you see now, you can tell for our, this is for our international people, non-Australian based people. You can see how previous resistance points don't necessarily mean as much as they do in Australian dollars as they do in US dollars. Because you can see here, I would have, if this was the main market, if Australia was the main market that sort of set the prices, then I would expect this to be a resistance point. But because we float against the US dollar, it really does depend, the strength against the US dollar. So that's why we didn't see this as a level of resistance here at, was it $28 and $28.20. We did break through it a little bit. Hovered at just under $29 so far. Room to move higher? Yes. Room to move down? Definitely. We can see here definitely in the monthly time frame in silver. It entered overbought, that is, back down and then back in overbought territory again. Same as gold. Just depends, not depends, I just wouldn't be surprised either way where it goes from here. So that's silver in AUD. Now let's take a look at platinum, because platinum's gone crazy. Remember last week we had broken through this symmetrical triangle pattern finally, and we were heading on our way up. And I mentioned 2 marks, and let's go back into the weekly, the daily, but go back 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, look at that, 5, 6, 7, right down here. We'd broken out, and I'd put in a couple of spots that we would look at key points, and that was this mark here at about $9.50 and this mark here at about $1,000.30. Well, we've rocketed all the way. If I look at on the daily, we did come up all the way to $9.40, had a tiny bit of a retracement, then back all the way up to just above this little mark where I called here at the $9.50 mark, a tiny little dip, and then bang all the way up to just under $1,000, $9.98, a little shy of $1,000. That could be a psychological value, bear that in mind. And if we were to retrace from here, I think the retracement point would be either at the 9.55 or down here at the 9.40 mark. I don't see it retracing all the way back down to 9.15 personally, but again, that's do what you do. That's not financial advice. And moving up from here, we will take a look at the weekly, and we're overbought in the daily time frame. We're overbought in the weekly time frame as well, so do bear all that in mind. But definitely the next level right here, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 spots is most definitely this $1,030 level. I think for platinum that might be the max out before we see the retracement back down, which we will eventually. I think we'll max out at about 1,030. That's my opinion. Although if I had to call another one, maybe between 1,030 and this, see that right there, that little spike. So between 1,030 and there, which is at 1,045. So somewhere between 1,030 and 1,045 is where I think we'll absolutely max out at before we see. Then I think we'll see a retracement after that if we don't see it beforehand. Of course, I would be very happy to be wrong and we climb all the way up higher and higher and higher. That's it for platinum and palladium. Finally, we're still in this ascending triangle pattern, but it has been looking pretty good. So I can definitely say now that obviously that double top thing that I've been talking about for a while, that's obviously absolutely not in play, because we didn't end up coming back down and then down all the way. We did. That was a failed move, so we had a fast move in the opposite direction. Out of interest, right now, let's have a look here on the daily. Where did we top out at? It looks like we topped out right on that particular line that I put in last time. Why did I put that in? 1564. Let me see why I did that. Let's look on the monthly. Oh, it just must have been because it looked right on the weekly. Oh, that's why, because of right there. Okay, cool. Let's go back on the daily, and I put it in because of, I think, this level right here. Oh, anyway, last week I put in a line of 1564. Looks like we've come bang up to it right now. Whether we retrace from here remains to be seen, of course. And for some reason I've got this level. That's why, right here. I've got this level here of 1580. And then we're going to be making a play for the all-time high of about 1615. So you've got room to move, definitely all the way up to the top end of this ascending triangle. Can you see that right there? That line. Could move all the way back up to here. Again, as usual, you never get to the apex. You never get to the corner. It always makes a decision beforehand. You never get right to the corner. So I would suggest sometime between now and I'm not going to say there. I'm going to say by the end of October, middle to end of October, is when we will have made the decision either way. Any time between now and the middle, I'll say the middle of October. Between now and the middle of October is when the decision will have been made whether we break out or break down. My money says it will break up, in my opinion. Of course, again, what I'm about to say, it's not financial advice. And if we move higher from here, I'm not even going to talk about the down moves on this one. If we move higher from here, the next one is, of course, as I mentioned before, the psychological value of $2,000. Let's stay with that one for now. We'll talk about some higher prices later on down the track. But as you can see, definitely, if we break through here, a move up to here is not that huge. So I definitely think 2,000 is the next mark. Moving higher for Palladium, let's quickly look at the gold to silver ratio because that's been dropping like a rock. Here we go. That high of 93 all the way back down to 80, under 80, 79. That's because of silver's outperformance against gold. Wow, look, it's broken through that. It's broken through that trend line, that trend channel now. I was making a call thinking gold may outrun silver and pop the gold to silver ratio up to 100. I'm not so sure now, but I'm going to keep it for now. You never know. Stranger things have happened in the big city. But as of right now, that's looking unconfirmed because we did break through there. So silver is a great play at the moment. It could head further down. But look, all the precious metals in general are a good play at the moment. Of course, take everything I say with a grain of salt, and it's not financial advice, and do your own research and all that jazz. You know what to do, gang. You need to subscribe to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button right here, join the family, and get your expressions of interest in for the Lunar Mouse 1 ounce silver and 1 ounce gold, and for the 1 ounce 2020 Kookaburra as well. Sales at bullionnow.com.au. That's it, gang. Stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon.